field of business and finance, there are many technologies available, be it Tableau, Power BI, Python, Excel, or SQL. So, what do you think is the most important, and which builds a good profile for the students? What should they work on? And they should prefer online courses, or should they do certifications like company offered certifications in these fields? Would you suggest the graduate?
Okay. As a finance professional, you need to be super duper good in Excel. Like there is no second thought about it. That is the first skill that you need to develop, and you need to be fast at it. So for me, when I started out, I didn't really know anything about Excel till I joined Deloitte. Okay. I went to this local shop, which, we used to have these cyber cafes at our times. I didn't really have a computer at that point of time when I just started doing my articleship. Couldn't really afford a computer, to be honest. So I went to the cyber cafe after I landed a job in like articleship in Deloitte, and I told him, just teach me like the basic Excel skills. And he taught me a few things. He charged me some money. And when I went to Deloitte, I realized that none of it helped. Like, because I got a laptop, he explained me something on the computer, and his version of Excel was very, very different to what we used to use in Deloitte. So I didn't really know anything. So what did I do? I didn't really do a lot of courses back then. I went up to my seniors and asked them that what is the best way of learning. And they told me, listen, you need to practice typing and you need to start using Excel faster. So every day I used to try and learn one new shortcut in Excel.
Wow.
I got a list of shortcuts, and right now, trust me, it's available everywhere on the internet. You just have to write like 50 top shortcuts in Excel. At that point of time, we used to have these repository with our seniors, and I got that from them. And I used to practice. Like I used to spend 15 to 20 minutes every day to practice Excel and improve my typing speed. Now I can tell you I can type without seeing the laptop. Like I can look at you and I can keep typing. And that is coming out of practice, right? So Excel becomes a very, very important skill from a finance perspective. But as we are going ahead and we are becoming, like companies are becoming more technologically advanced, of course, Tableau and SQL kind of really, really makes sense to learn as a skill. A certification probably is not needed at this point of time, depending on what you want to do. But like just explore the free courses. I would say there are so many free courses, let's say on Coursera or edX, etc. At least know about the software. Like I learned Tableau when I was working, and that's about a year and a half back. I learned SQL right now when I'm working in my current job. So a lot of these things will keep coming. You can't learn all of it, right? So and the basic thing stays, and what we work on is Excel.
Wow. So Excel is the base, and everything keeps adding on as time goes.
Yeah, because like let's say in my previous company before I moved to Dubai, they used to use Tableau. So I developed a Tableau dashboard for them, and I learned Tableau at that point of time, watching YouTube videos, etc., etc. In this company, we write SQL queries. So I reached out to my BI team, and they helped me with the basic queries, keep experimenting with the queries and learn. So, and if tomorrow, let's say I move somewhere else or move to another role, I might need some other software. So when you are starting out, you might not be, like, it's not possible for you to know every software in the world. Like even the coders, people who are like, let's say software engineers, might know the flavor of all the software, but they might not be the best at all the softwares. So it's important to understand in your profile what's going to be your bread and butter. For finance, the bread and butter happens to be Excel, and everything else is like the cherry on the top.
Oh, something close happens in the field of software, as you mentioned. So what happens is the programmers, they know basics of data structures, and then they have a command in a particular language, be it Python or C++ or Java or whatever it may be, and then they use that particular one language to code. And then we also have a full stack developer who knows all the language and the back end and the front end of the websites or the software they are working on. So that's how it works. So how do you think online courses add a value on the resume or the profile initially for a fresher or a and a beginner?
It helps you to stand out.
Mm.
Like, so obviously, if you have a couple of certification courses, it
Mhm.
will help to stand out your resume. Obviously, it will help you to answer the interview questions if you've prepared well. And if you've actually done the course, it's not like just getting the certificate of the course, but
Yes,
actually done the course, as I already mentioned.
definitely.
So it will definitely help. But it's very, very important to do courses which are related to your field. Like, let's say if I am applying for a finance job and I show a skill set of Java and C++, it won't matter, right? So
Definitely.
it will matter if it is related to your job profile. If it'll obviously help to stand out, like make your CV stand out. Now, coming to how much of the online courses help, you don't really have a lot of option, right? Like, companies do obviously understand that not everyone can afford to go to an institute and learn a particular skill from an institute. So knowing a skill and online, I mean, see, the world is entirely going online. Big MBA colleges are giving their lectures online. There's so many,
Yeah.
all these online courses that's done by so many universities. So typically, like, even when like COVID would go down and things are going to become normal, a lot of students are expecting the courses to be a mix of online and offline. So
Yeah.
with that, I think the demand for online education is going to definitely increase. And as long as you have the skills,
Mhm.
it doesn't really matter where you've taken it from, like how you've got it from. That's my personal opinion.
Amazing. Amazing. So, what do you think makes a fresher stand out a lot from all others out there? If they are determined to join a field, suppose be it data analytics or business intelligence or etc. etc. So, what should they focus on doing? That one thing they should focus on doing, which the recruiters are looking for.
Be the master of your skill.
Okay.
Like, there's no second thought to that. If I were a finance professional and I don't know the basic accounting principles or how does the P&L look like, nobody's going to hire me. So just be the master of your skill. You should know as much as you can
Mhm.
about your particular domain, and try and look at a bigger picture. Like, when you are looking out for a company, you should know about the company, like what it does. So that really helps people stand out.
So, what do you think is a really good way to apply at Big Four or the the top firms in the particular industry, be it tech or be it finance or be it any other industry out there? What are the best ways? Is it asking recommendations from people, or is it applying at job portals, or what do you think is the best way to do it?
uh See, staying in a country like India and knowing the competition, I'm not really sure if applying online really makes a lot of difference, to be honest. So, from my experience, I would say there are two ways of approaching it. If you are still in college, like just starting out, start to build connections on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one tool that is very, very powerful. Like, and I know so many people who've landed their jobs through LinkedIn.
Oh,
So start making those connections. Like, even if you're a first year college student, you still have 3 years before you start out. So if you cannot make it transactional and start reaching out to people, engaging with people on a regular interval, these are the people who will help you like when you want to start out, because you've built those connections. And even though we are going online, the human connection, everybody wants that human connection. So you try to leverage that to grow. Now imagine now, and obviously now you don't know any of it and you're in the third year of college, then also you should try and reach out to people, talk to people, uh, apply online. But if somebody can recommend you in the company or somebody can forward your CV, it just makes the process faster. But before you reach out to people, I would reiterate, do your homework well. Why do you want to be in that particular company? What is there in the role for you, and how do you expect to grow in that role? These are the few things that you should ask yourself. And as a first year college student, have the top 10 companies, the top 10 role in your mind. Like,
amazing.
and work on those.
Glad you mentioned these points. Actually, I was going through LinkedIn some time ago, and there was a job posting, I guess, for an internship, or it might be an unpaid internship actually. And within a day or two, there were around 2,000 plus applicants for that one internship roles. And now, when you said the job portals and the online applications might be dead, it reminded me of that example. It's really true what
Yeah.
you said. Actually, I have come across many other freshers and my seniors also. They said the same thing, which you just mentioned. So, apart from being a financial executive in the biggest tech firm out there, you are also a co-founder of your own blog called The Strategy Story. So, and it deals with business and giving short case studies for young freshers like me and people who are just starting out in the industry. Can you tell us more about how that started and what was your motivation behind starting it?
Absolutely. So, as I said, like finance was not a choice for me, it was chance. I wanted to be a journalist, and after spending like almost 9 years, to be honest, like across articleship and working for 6 years, I really had no courage to leave everything and pursue journalism at this point of time. So I thought, what's the closest thing that I can do and give back whatever I've learned in finance? I was always interested in writing. Not that I am a very good writer, like the top writers out there, but I was really keen on writing, and I have an opinion on a lot of things. So I needed a platform to take that opinion out, to give back whatever I have learned, and also secretly pursue my dream of being a journalist. Not typically a journalist style, but somewhere on those lines. So that was the entire motivation of starting the Strategy Story. What we do at Strategy Story is bring out business strategies, the complex ones, in a simple storytelling format. And the reason why we do that, we did a research before starting this blog, or I would say a website, is that like typically when you listen to a story, it stays with you a little longer than, let's say, reading all the technical jargons and tough words and these business strategies of how company just change itself overnight. So we thought, like, why not create a fun and engaging way of making people read stuff with a lot of videos and a lot of pictures, and end of the day and end of 5 minutes they are able to get that one typical business strategies that big companies apply.
Yeah.
So that was the motivation behind this. We started about 2.5 months ago. We right now have partnered with one big college in India called IIFT to become their case partners. And we did a case cracking session for them. We created case studies for them, and these were the people, the MBA grads who would go on to become consultants in big companies. Like, so we have forayed into that aspect as well. Apart from 5 minutes read, we also have started something called a 1 minute read. And there we cover very quirky things about business. Like, for example, how did Coca-Cola choose the red color in its bottle, for example? Like, why is the Coca-Cola color red? Or like things like that, basically. So, what is guerrilla marketing? How companies have used it, like, to become, to like spending nothing and still getting the marketing traction which the traditional marketing couldn't do, stuff, so on and so forth. So that's the whole thing about Strategy Story. We kind of, it's a platform for us to give back to people, and especially the young people from 20 to 35 years of age, who can learn a lot more things which is outside their domain and interesting enough for them to learn something new. Additionally, we are also providing a platform to people who wants to write. Like, a lot of people want to write, but they don't get a platform to write. So typically right now, there are like 30-40 people who are interested in writing with us in a span of 2.5 months. And that ranges from people with 20 years of experience to college professors to freshmen like people who are in first year of their engineering college and BCom and stuff like that. So we have like a vast pool of people who are interested in writing, and we provide them a platform, and we provide them with the necessary tools for them to write and create that create their own name in on LinkedIn, for example. So
Amazing.
yeah.
So you have found a really nice way to combine your passion and what you're working in right now. I think most of the what I hear is from the people, even my be it my I mean classmates or from my seniors or from other people in the industry, this they had one passion, but due to some circumstances or the other, they got into a completely different industry, and then after some time, because they have spent so much time building it and studying for it, they just can't leave it altogether. And you are a really good example of combining both of those things together and just working it out. And the amount of success the success story has, the strategy story has achieved in last 2.5 months, it's amazing. So what is the process if someone wants to become a writer for the strategy story, and should they have to go to the website or come to you and approach you? How process like?
So it's very simple. There are two ways of doing it. One, you approach me, like just chime me on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to set up a call and give the vision of what we are trying to do and understand your vision of how committed you are to writing. See, it's a non-profit. Like we don't make any money out of it, so we can't pay you. Like people who are interested in writing, the only way we help is to develop your passion of writing just the way we are passionate about it. So we onboard you that way. We ask you to write an article. We help you to edit the article and put it on the website. So once you've written an article, you've become kind of more confident on what you want to write, how to express your thoughts. So that's how we can do it. The other way is how we have kept it open is like people go to the strategy story website, and there is a section that what you want to write about. You write about your interest, and again we reach out to you, we speak to you. So for us, building that human connection with our team of writers is very, very important, uh, because at the end, what I said, it's a team, it's a community of people. So we want to become very close to that community of people, so that people feel that they are part of something bigger, and what they are doing is touching a lot of people. In 2.5 months, we have more than 7,000 people on our LinkedIn page, and that's a staggering number, to be honest. And people love reading these articles. The kind of comments that we get, the kind of feedback that we get, it's just testament to the fact that if you can somehow try and do a little about, like little something which you're passionate about, people will support you, and our journey is a testament to that fact.
Definitely, your passion and your enthusiasm, it's being shown in each and every blog of the strategy story. Because I was reading the previous blog some time ago, and they were so concise and to the point, and without any technical jargons. Like even a school kid can really understand, and if they're interested into business or marketing or analytics, they would definitely love it. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So it's
Thank you. That
amazing.
means a lot.
Amazing, amazing talking with you, Swati. And until next time, best of luck, and just keep helping people like you have helped people right now. And a lot of people, I'm telling you, a lot of my classmates or my the people I know, they will be inspired by this podcast. Thanks a lot, Swati.
I hope I'm able to help people, and I'm super open to people if they want to be mentored, if they need any help. I'm pretty happy to if they reach out to me, and I will try to help in every possible manner that I can, guiding them. I do a lot of mentoring also for young freshers through different platforms. I'm super happy to help in future as well.
But
So
obviously,
thank you
they
for
must have done their homework before approaching you, and they should.
I would expect the least, but it's fine. Like at least I can guide them how to do their homework. If nothing works out of that.
Amazing, amazing, Swati, amazing. So take care. Until next time.
You too. Thanks. Bye.